It's all for me. How's everybody doing? We got a couple more panels. A couple more, all right? This is a good one, though. So, Dallas, Texas, Creation Entertainment. Make some noise. Give a big, warm welcome from Shadowhunters, Dominic, Sherwood, Katherine, McNamara, Baines. Come on! Yeah! You're a rock star, baby. Let's go!
Thank you so much. What an entrance. That was epic.
Everything in my life is going to be a downhill from there.
Yeah, sorry. That's probably the best that this panel's going to get. Or at least the most polished, maybe? I don't know.
You can stay and just like when we crack a joke, you know, give us a.
Let's give a little bit.
I'm kidding.
Please take a
There'll
break.
be too many
Please take a break.
jokes. There will
Please
be
take
too
a break.
many jokes.
Hello, angels. How are you? Thank you so much for being here with us today. This is our first time doing a convention in Texas, I believe.
It's my first time doing a convention in America.
Your first time.
My first time. That's why I said my first time, not your first time.
I thought you said our. I thought you were including all of us.
I never think about you.
I'm not surprised.
It's getting off to a good start.
So, how is everyone? Are we doing questions, or how does this work? So, oh my gosh, every time. I will say, I don't think there's ever been a panel where you haven't broken a microphone. Taken apart, broken, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
I have a question I'll kick us off with, Katherine.
Okay, please.
What was your favorite scene to shoot with me?
Okay, actually,
Your death.
Shush, you.
She actually asked for them to write that in.
I did not. I actually barely was able to get through that day because it was my last scene with you, and I was like, I love working with you. And then you put me in a movie and you killed me, so it worked out great. No, but my favorite scene filming with you.
Put me in that movie.
No, I know. It was a conscious choice.
Anyway, to answer your question, my favorite scene filming with you was our first episode, because we shot all of this apartment kind of all as one big scene over the course of like 2 days, and it was so fun because it was so rare on that show that we had such long scenes and so much material that you could really dig into something with just 2 actors in a space and just kind of play. But my favorite scene actually in the end is 3 of us, because I rewatched a lot of the show recently, and it was the last scene that the 3 of us shot in Paris, where you destroy the sword and the "You'll Never Love Me Back," and then you and I think that we're about to die. We shot that in Paris. That was the night it was so late that our tears were freezing because it was so cold.
And you remember we were shooting in it was like a quadrangle. I don't know what you call it. A square.
It is a quadrilateral.
There was a like a fountain, like a water fountain, and Dom was like, "When we finish this show, we're gonna all jump in the water."
We
That's
were like,
pretty
no,
good.
it's cold.
Did everyone think Dom was speaking just now? I did. But yeah, you're like, let's jump in the water, and I was like, no one's doing that.
It's cold.
And then we wrapped, and pretty much as soon as we wrapped, you just left. You were like gone.
Yeah, I wasn't going in there. Crazy. Too cold.
Yeah.
What was funny though about when we shot the scene that you just mentioned, like my death scene, you were hysterically crying because you love me so much.
I do love you so much.
But the director had to step in, and he was like, hey, you need to pull it together. He has just murdered a ton of people. We're like kind of happy he's dying,
Yeah, but also, who was the one proponent the entire time of, no, he's my brother. He's never had a chance in hell. But give him a chance,
Yes.
Foolish girl.
Some would say you encouraged the murder.
No.
Your fault,
only...
in fact, I think. That's,
I think
okay,
it
my
was your
fault,
fault.
potentially.
That was the rules. The stuff I read online was everyone said
It's her
Clary's
fault.
fault.
Because she creates her own runes.
I only
Yeah.
encouraged it because I was twinned to you by your mother's fingernail in my clavicle.
Mm-hmm. I do remember. I do recall.
Yeah.
I had questions about that.
Yeah.
That was behind the scenes, wasn't it?
Yeah. Does anyone else have questions, or are we just going to ramble on this whole time?
We need some
'Cause
structure
we will.
here,
We
guys.
do. We really do. Is
I
that?
feel like there is a question.
I feel like there must be.
There is a question. I'm going to find
There
it.
must be questions, or we'll just continue to ramble and hopefully entertain you somehow.
Yes, you do.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Christy, and Shadowhunters for me was like kind of my comfort show. You know, I want to know if you have any show like that you can just watch over and over and over again.
Buffy.
Buffy.
I could watch that show forever. It doesn't matter what episode. I will jump in, and it's like I think that helps. You know, when I first started the show, and I would meet people, and they're like, "I'm such a big fan of the show," and I wouldn't understand like the relation to me, but I could understand me having a favorite. You know, like that kind of concept of just a comfort blanket, something you can put on.
Mine was Friends for a really long time, but more recently it's been that show Evil. Weirdly, because I love all of that, all of the lore and all the history and everything that they kind of go through, and the science versus the psychiatry versus the religious aspect. But Mike Coulter and I worked together about 13 years ago, and I love him very dearly. And just seeing him on a show and hearing his voice, like as I'm falling asleep, I'm like, oh, that's Mike. That's nice.
I like animated stuff. Like I like
Cartoons.
I like cartoons. Yeah, I like cartoons. I like The Simpsons.
Bob the Builder.
And okay.
I'm sorry. I promise I won't do this the whole time.
No, that's
It's
fine.
just because I had coffee, and it's like it's hitting.
Yeah.
This is my
overexcited.
life for 4 years
Yeah.
with these guys
No,
making the show.
If you remember, he was only on the show for one.
And then the show got cancelled. Not saying it was my fault, but I was the last to join.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a great question. Do you have another? Oh, it's over here. Oh, hi.
Hey,
Hey guys, what's something that you took from working with each other to other projects that you've done in the future?
oh, don't do it
Great
again.
question.
That's what I took. Yeah, learn from your mistakes. That's what I took.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
then.
We've done more than one job together.
It's true. That's true.
I actually I definitely took stuff from both of them. Kat is a consummate professional, always ready to go, never doesn't know her lines. No, genuinely, you know that.
No, I know. I'm just waiting.
And you're waiting for your punchline. It's coming. It's forming. No, but there are a lot of times you work with actors who are not prepared, and Kat is always prepared, and so I've kind of held myself to that standard. And Dom is also a very prepared actor, and he is very focused most of the time when he's on set.
Unless there's a dog or a squirrel present.
Or something he can break, like a stele, like a glass
yeah.
stele.
Yo, what the fuck?
I said something nice at the top of this.
Had to just segue in the negativity.
I think Kat actually introduced the negativity because I was going to continue with saying nice
Nice.
things.
Come back. Come back.
Oh, I thought you were
Wait.
going to leave.
Sorry.
I was like, is it that easy?
Oh,
I
wait.
could've been doing this.
No, you know what I just realized
What?
is I'm off camera. Can't have that.
Okay,
Can't have that.
Dom, what did you learn from me?
Can I go?
Of course.
Oh gosh. I think from Luke, I'm always inspired by the way that you get things done. And it was more working with you on Untitled Horror Movie, because I saw you take that project from start to finish, and I saw you, the way that you were so innovative and so just, you didn't let anything stop you. We were, 3 or 4 months into COVID when Luke called me and said, hey, we wrote a movie and we figured out how to shoot it without being in the same room, so you're gonna do it. I went, thank you, can I read it? I was,
What? You want a script?
Yeah, I do.
Crazy.
But it turned out to be one of my favorite projects we've done, because I got to watch you build that from the ground up and take it to the finish line, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much.
And Dom, working with you for so many years, building these characters, it really taught me the magic that can come from that. When you have two actors that care so much about the characters, and we really took so much time to create what that relationship was, and they kind of took on a life of their own. And I really can say that I don't think I've ever had another partner in that the characters have developed their own kind of mannerisms and relationship in such a complete kind of story, as it were. but I think that comes from how committed you are, and I know how much thought and time and effort you put into the detail of why your characters do things. From, Jace always fiddling with the stele, to the Falcon in his room, to why things are in certain places in his space, why he does certain things before he goes into battle or whatever it might be. It really, it's really inspiring.
Well, that's very sweet. Thank you very much. I didn't learn anything from either of them. No, that's
You
not
can
true.
tell.
That's not. No, that's not true. Both of them actually, in separate ways, taught me that there is more fun to be had on set. That you can enjoy yourself a lot more. And I hasten to say, not take yourself so seriously, because they both do as actors. They take themselves seriously, and they're very professional. But there is room, there is space in a workplace to also enjoy yourself and have fun, even if what you're portraying is like the worst of the worst.
Just the absolute insanity.
It's like the devil or whatever. There is space in that capacity to have fun and be light and enjoy yourself.
I think it's necessary. I mean, it's something, when we're doing a show like Shadowhunters, for 4 years, for us, we were in circumstances where the stakes are always life or death. Somebody's always about to die, the world's always about to end, or somebody did die, or somebody's trying to kill people, or it's maximum stakes all the
Clary's
time.
fault.
And it's always my fault. I know. But you need the levity just as a human being. And so I think we would burst out into laughter more on that set than any other set I've ever worked on, because of that.
You don't do that. You don't break very often.
We did once. Once or twice. We had a giggle fit.
I was a guest on that show.
But
you know what I mean?
That
Like,
didn't
I'm like,
stop other guests.
no, I know.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
if we had gone on for a 4th season, for sure, you would have seen the true colors come out.
You're very good at you wait until you can keep your face on until as soon as they call cut, and then you break.
But I struggled. I remember the scene where Dark Clary makes an appearance. It's like episode 9, I think, and you come and pretend that you're on our side. And at that point, we'd been working together for so long that it's as jokey as it is now. And then we had to be serious, and we hadn't worked together in like a month or 6 weeks or something. And I remember the first take, you said something, and I just cracked up laughing. And you're like, mate, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm so sorry. I just wasn't prepared for like this. I wasn't prepared for the seriousness of Jace.
Yeah.
And like you came in all like, in charge, Jace. And I was like, what's happening?
Jace was in a very
It's a
earnest,
good
serious
Jace.
place at that point. It's a good Jace. I like that Jace. Thank you. That was a great question. Hey there.
Hello, my name is Alexis from Houston. My question, I remember my question. My question is there a possibility of you guys bringing back the Return to the Shadows podcast?
No.
Dom's sick of working with me. No.
No. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Mostly because the show's over. So we don't have much more to talk about. You know what I mean? It was based on. I mean, we would find stuff for sure, but no. Unfortunately, no. I think that ship might have sailed. We'll figure something else out. We'll figure something else Shadowhunters based out. I promise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name's Faith. My question's for Kat. Who do you think is the better JC?
Why did you do this to me?
And you have to make a choice. Do not give a diplomatic answer. It doesn't matter if it's not me, Kat. I understand.
Matters a little to me.
To be fair, it would be weird if you didn't choose him.
I mean, to be fair, I think each JC is different in their own. No, I'm being perfectly honest. I will say, I have to be honest, because I think both of you brought so much to your characters, and both of you did the work and made the book characters already. Each of them were so beautifully done, but each of you brought so much more to it than was on the page, even than was on the script page. If we're talking better, as in less evil, obviously. Better as in maybe better style.
Got something going on for
There
me.
you go. I mean, I was twinned.
And it's just a leather jacket.
How can I choose? I was twinned to you and in love with you. Like, what am I supposed to do?
I am the only family that Oh no, that's not true.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the only family that wasn't evil, but I was evil, so just
Well,
ignore me.
You're the only family, period.
There's that.
And then, you're the only one I ever should have tried to protect. So, I don't know. I gotta plead the fifth a little bit.
I like these. Ask more questions that divide us. This is fun.
Let's see if we can actually have
Who's
a
the
falling
better
out
kisser?
on the.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
I've been
It's
asked
Luke.
that
The
so
answer's
many
Luke.
times.
It's Luke. He's very good at it.
Hey!
Okay. Hi, my name's Serena. Which one?
God. Whoever did that, you are a legend. Please make yourself known.
Look at this
Where did that
smile.
come from?
Look at this cute little
I
smile.
really enjoyed that. That was
Same.
That was great.
Hi. Who think is gonna win, the Shadowhunter or the Michelson?
Shadowhunter, let's go. The
Michelson's.
Michelsons from the originals.
Oh.
Like Daniel and Claire
oh,
and all them.
The Shadowhunters.
No,
Shadowhunters.
I don't. Well,
For sure.
I
Shadowhunters.
don't know. I think the
Shadowhunters.
Michelsons.
Yeah.
Are we
He
talking about
doesn't-
Rebecca?
Honeybee.
Yeah.
Because Rebecca could kill me, but like just by looking at me, and has done on many occasions.
Yeah, that's true. I am a little afraid of Claire, I will say. She's fierce.
Claire is the person I call when I have a medical emergency or when I'm trying to make a really big decision. I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. And she's like, this is dumb. Why are you calling me?
Thank you. That's a great
Thank you.
question. But Shadowhunters.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey, I love your hair, by the way. The blonde is
Thanks.
bussin'.
Appreciate it.
He's very blonde right now. It's great.
Not you, but okay.
Oh, me? Oh,
yes,
thank
you.
Who, me?
Sass.
I was just gonna say, so for us book readers, I will say, obviously the show got canceled and the ending was interesting. If you guys had a choice of like creating your own last episode for your character that you feel like would fully embody everything and the journey that they went through, what would it be and why?
This might be a controversial answer. I wouldn't change anything. And I was somebody who read the script for the finale at first and didn't fully understand it. And I went, wait, what are we doing? Why are we undermining what we've built for 3 seasons of this character and everything that she's learned and everything that she's, overcome and become? And I spoke with Todd Slapkin on the phone, and he said, just trust us. Just trust us. Just go with it. We'll explain it to you. And as we went through it, I didn't fully understand it until I saw our last scene when I was doing ADR, which, if you don't know what ADR is, it's where you go back in and revoice if there was a problem with the sound or something on the day. And there was so much just even in our eyes back and forth and the way they edited it on the day that it really spoke to what the show and the books were ultimately about, which is that love is a greater force than anything, be it demonic evil or the spite of the angels or whatever it may be. And despite everything, Clary's love for the Shadow World and their love for her and Jace's love for her was strong enough to have a tether and to have something still left there. And leaving that door open, even after, giving up everything, being willing to sacrifice everything that she loved and cared about for her found family, even the last bit of her real family for them. It kind of came back around to love in the end, and that still kept her there and kept her together, and that was the sort of grand conquering force. But what about you guys?
I know he's evil, but I would have loved to have seen once Clary, does the wings of death and kills me.
Sorry.
It's okay. It is what it is. I'm working through it with my therapist. That we actually see Jonathan wake up and he has no more of the demon blood in him. It was like the angelic hug from Clary burnt off all of that demonic energy.
That's the book lore.
But it only happens for a second.
Yeah, because there's not enough human in him to survive in
Correct.
the books.
Whereas I kind of just want him to wake up in Toronto, because that's where the death was, and be really confused as to what's going on, and try and see, just to see, would he, if this part of him wasn't there, would he still make bad choices? I think that would have been really interesting, because, if you actually look at the character and the fact that, he was tortured and then he was injected with demon blood, it's like he really didn't have a chance at any kind of redemption or rehabilitation. And so, yeah, I think it would be interesting to find out what would happen if he didn't have that.
I love that.
Thanks.
What about Jace?
I think Jace needed a vacation. That's what I think. I would have liked to see Jace on a beach with a pina colada and little straw umbrella and the water lashing at his toes and not a care in the world, and then roll credits. That's what I wanted to see
With
Jace.
or without Clary?
What's the next question?
Thank you so much.
Thank
That's
you.
a great question.
Where's that coming from?
Hey.
Wait, why does he only get it?
I know.
Oh, no, you
Maybe
got
he
it.
needs
Doing
it.
it.
No, you got it that
it's for
time.
him. Hey.
He's not back there.
Hi guys.
Hi.
My question is, what would be your character's theme song?
Mine is "I Miss You" by Blink-182. Because he's
No. Hold on. No. Oh, isn't he sweet? Massacre. Everyone, hundreds of people, all dead, all of them, and like, oh, I know. Well,
Do
yeah.
you know how many times during the last, no, I would say the last 3 or 4 episodes, there would be numerous times we would be shooting a scene or something, and there would be like a touching moment with Jonathan, or something would happen, and Dom, he wouldn't even be in the scene. He would just reappear from behind like the back of a freaking stage and be like, can I just remind everyone he's killed a lot of people? And then at one point, you even put a line into the show. I can't remember what it was, but at some point you just felt so strongly like this Jace in you where you were like, no, it must be known he's killed people. And you like added a line, I remember, and it was great. But, yeah. Wait, where's
Evening sun. I think that would be a really cool, like, mental soundtrack that he's like just destroying people, and, like getting murdered and stabbed
head's
by
just
his
like,
dad.
Especially if it's in slow motion, you know?
That's what I think. That's what
I
was
like
always
that.
going through my head. Oh, sorry. It's my one job is to use the microphone
And not break it.
and not break it.
Again.
Yeah, that's Jace's, I think.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi there.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm from Oklahoma. I just wanted to know, do any of you have a favorite quote from the show, and if you guys did any pranks on set?
Oh, pranks? You want to know about pranks on set? This one. This one. Now,
Shocked.
it's got to be said, I am the easiest person to startle ever to exist. But Dom taped me to my trailer once. Yeah, somebody foolishly gave him a roll of duct tape, and he was like, we were just talking outside, and then slowly he just puts my hand on the handrail and starts to tape it. And I was confused at first. I didn't quite know what was happening, but I was humoring him. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Then I had a tape mitten, and I couldn't move my hand, and then I was stuck, so he taped my other hand, and then I had 2 tape mittens, taped my legs together, and ran away. But the funniest bit about it is that when I was calling for help, people came running not with scissors but with cameras first. And then Daddario, after taking pictures, cut me out of it. So that was the
There was also the time that we were all sitting in like chairs, like high chairs like this. It was a big scene, so it was like 6 or 7 of us. And Kat had no idea the entire time Dom was doing something, and he had gotten zip ties.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot
Oh,
about
I
that.
remember this
He
one.
zip tied all the chairs together.
Yeah.
And then zip tied the back of her chair to her jeans.
yeah to like
And
my belt loop.
so
And
they
then I went
called-
to get up, and I was like,
And she had like 8 chairs behind her
Yeah.
attached to her, and she was trying to get out. It was
and
quite
then
funny.
and then you zip tied my water bottle to my jeans, so I had a little water bottle tail after that.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
And then there was the headshots in Alberto's trailer was fun
Oh,
too.
that was epic. You got to tell that
I
story.
printed like 150 of my headshot out, and I put them everywhere in Alberto's trailer. I'm talking like inside costumes. I'd like wallpapered the whole place under the toilet seat. So when he lifted up the toilet seat, it was my face looking back at him, everywhere. And then the next day, he didn't notice. He didn't say anything. So the next day, I was like giggling to myself, like, oh, he's going to notice, he's going to go in. And he walked into his trailer and then walked back out. And I was like, you noticed anything strange? He was like, no. I walked into his trailer and they're all gone. And I was like, what's happened there? And we found out that they'd switched trailers halfway through, and my trailer got sent to a different show. So some other actor opened the door. I was like, who? What is this? Just 100, like every drawer that you open, there was one in there. Like the microwave had one in it. Like everything.
Meanwhile, it's like it's probably gone to a serious show, like Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale is the one that I thought.
That's exactly because it was just down the road, and like someone's got,
Elizabeth Moss goes in and is like,
what's happening?
Yeah, that was a solid one.
You had 2 questions. What was the first question?
favorite quote
Ah.
from our character or from the show or? I always liked the one that I can't remember if it was from the book or the show. It was kind of 2 different quotes put together, but
You're only in one of them.
To be fair, her face is on the cover of one of them.
thank you. Actually, our face is on the cover of one of them.
Saw it today. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Quite vibey.
No, but that's okay. But it's love makes you stronger. Love makes you fight harder for what you want. And I thought that kind of summed up the whole show.
I'm going to need to confer with my trusted source.
It's not me. I'm not the source. I don't think that's the quote. I don't think that's.
Don't Google it. I
don't
you
remember
knew.
anyone saying,
If I can't bend heaven. What is it? Heaven, hell.
If I can't bend heaven to my will, I'll raise hell.
Yeah,
Is
that
that what it
one.
is?
That's
That
my
was
favorite
pretty
quote.
good.
That was fucking-
Obviously, I'm a
that was
huge fan of it. I think about it all the time.
It's probably true. Mine's the Power of a Tie Oath, I think. I think it was such a beautifully put together little poem, you know, entreat me not to leave thee, but to return from following after thee, that whole thing. That's all I know. That's all I remember. But I remember that day when we had to do it, and it was all of us. Like a bunch of us were in that room.
It was beautiful. I cried.
And it was that was a fun moment. I like poetry, so that was something I got to like explore in that little vignette, which was nice.
That is something that I loved about the world of Shadowhunters is if you do research on the books and we had the codex and the hair and makeup trailer and there were so many things like that. Even the Shadowhunters children's rhyme that has all of the color references and what they mean in the Shadowhunters community. I was in one of my first wardrobe fittings and I was speaking to our costume designer Shelly Mansell, who is the best and is amazing and we love her dearly. And I said, you've seen this, right? And she goes, no, wait, what is this? And I sent it to her, and she printed it out and had it hanging in her office. And every time she was planning a new wardrobe, or even in certain episodes, like there was an episode where Claire, that's the reason I was in blue when I came back from that's why that whole outfit was blue when Lilith captured me, and I went and then was with this guy for several episodes, because when the Lost Return, it was blue. And like all these different things that, she planned the colors as we went through the series as to match that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great
Thanks.
question.
Sorry, tangent. Hi.
Hi, my name is Mandy, and I was just wondering if any of you guys, it sounds like some of you have, but if any of you guys had read the books that the movie is based, or the TV show is based on, The Mortal Instruments.
I did. I read the 6 books. Alberto did as well, but I just loved it. I loved kind of seeing, because so much of it is from Clary's perspective. Are you doing the thing where you imitate me talking behind my head again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
He actually
That's
wasn't. I
cute.
swear, he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Scout's honor. I wasn't a
Wow.
scout, but
No, you weren't. But so much of it is from Clary's perspective and Clary's point of view. I wanted to see as much as I could and implement as many of those little details in as I possibly could. But did you guys?
I hadn't gotten to my section by the time I started shooting. I'd gotten through I think 2.5 books, and then I started finishing as we were going. But that's why Kat also became my, I'd be like, hey, what's this mean yet? I haven't gotten there. And she'd be like, oh, this is what happens. But yeah.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't read the books. I've done 3 now book to movie or book to TV adaptations. I'm not smart enough to separate, to compartmentalize two different versions of the same stimulus. Truly. And especially something like Shadowhunters, the more you guys told me about the books, the more I was like, I'm not going to be able to separate the book version of this from the TV version of this. So I try fairly fervently to keep the stimulus that is my script. That's what I'm going to work off. Because otherwise it's like, what's my last name? I'm in the middle of book 3, and like I don't know what's going on. And I found it safer to
change
separate
things
those.
all the time.
Yeah.
So you like think something's happening, and then you're playing a scene thinking of something that happened in the book, and then you're like, wait, did this? Okay, no, I'm not crazy. You have actually completely changed the intention of this.
So it's normally a personal opinion based on the actor. Normally.
There's no right answer. It's just a personal process thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my
Hi.
name's Haley Grace McCormick. I'm from South Carolina. What inspired you to get into acting? And if you hadn't have been an actor, what career would you have wanted to pursue?
I answered that question a couple months ago, and I shouldn't have the way I did. So I'm going to avoid it this time.
It was a good answer, though.
I'll show you later.
That good. Okay.
I knew I wanted to be an actor from when I was 3 or 4 years old. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and it's all I've ever really been striving towards. What was the second part of the question? If I wasn't an actor, what would I be? Unemployed, honestly. Yeah. It's like, I think. Yeah.
Trophy husband?
Yeah.
You'd make a great trophy husband.
You think so?
100%.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And if anything, I'm sure I could.
Can I be your trophy husband?
No, absolutely not. No, I don't
You
have the
dress
patience
well, you're
for
very
that.
caring, you're very pretty, it works out.
Oh, that's all awful. Yeah, I don't know. I've honestly never entertained the thought of doing something else. I knew this is what I wanted to do from a very young age, and that's all I've pushed for that time. And I got very lucky. I got very lucky that I was afforded these opportunities. And that's not to say that I didn't work my ass off, like I really did, but there are a lot of actors I know and actors that I've worked with who are better than I am, who've worked harder than I have. Maybe not worked harder than I have, because like I do pride myself on how hard I work. But
You do.
there are definitely actors who have the ability to do it and have worked very hard and have not been afforded these opportunities for whatever reason. So I do feel very lucky and honored to have been given the opportunity to do what I love. But yeah, I don't know what I would do. I have no other skills. Like, I don't know. We were on strike for a whole year. Basically the whole acting community, the writers went on strike. I know, I hated it too. The actors and then the writers went on strike, and then the actors went on strike. So for like a year, there was very little work for almost everyone. And there did reach a point where I was like, I need to do something. Like, I need to do another job. And then I looked at my resume, and I was like, oh, it's nothing. It's just actor for 15 years. Like, I can't go anywhere and be like, what's your CV? And it's like, well, I was a bartender, and then I was an actor for 15 years, and that's it. I think anyone would be like, well, you're not getting this job, whatever it is, you know? So yeah, I was very lucky.
I came from, a medical science family in Missouri, so I didn't even know that being an actor was a job. I loved movies, I loved the arts, I loved theater, went to the theater all the time as a kid, but I didn't ever kind of put 2 and 2 together, but I loved stories. I knew I always did, and looking back, it makes a lot of sense. But I'm a huge math nerd, and I wanted to go into economics. I wanted to be a developmental economist until I was about 12, and then I did my first ever theater show.
That wasn't a joke, by the way. That's actually
no,
a
it's
true
actually
story.
legitimately.
Can you see her at 12 running around being like, I want to be a developmental economist?
Yeah. I balanced my parents' checkbook from the time I was 7 for fun.
I know.
Yeah, I'm that much of a math nerd.
She's a real hoot to be around socially. My name's Kat. You want me to balance your checkbook?
She's there.
Would you not like someone else to balance your checkbook?
I would.
I think it's a pretty useful.
I'm more than happy for you to
Thank
take care
you.
of all of that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will, gladly.
Should I be balancing my checkbook?
Yes. But then I was a ballet
balancing
dancer.
mean?
Ballet was a hobby of mine, and I ran into a family friend who was directing a community theater show, and I was the kid who would try anything. So over one summer, I went, sure, yeah, I'll try this theater thing, see how that goes. And from the minute I stepped on stage, it was one of those rare moments of clarity in life that hit me like a brick wall, and I went, oh, no, I was put on this earth to tell stories. And there's nothing else I want to do with my life more. I still went to school for business, which I'm very grateful for, because I can read my contracts, and I can do all that stuff. But I couldn't imagine doing anything else with my life at this point.
I think that I would. I'm not going to make a joke, Dom. Don't look at me. I think I would have been a criminologist or a psychologist. I'm very, very intrigued by how people
You say criminal
operate.
or sociopath?
Yeah.
Got it.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Where were you then? That was perfect. There we go.
Thank you.
It's because it wasn't worthy.
Nor was yours. So there we go. Okay. We're good.
Hey! But that technically was,
But that was for
you
Dom
again.
again. That
Damn
was
it.
for Dom again.
Okay, in about 5 seconds, I'm going to make a joke. No, I'm not. But yeah! No, I'm just really intrigued by why humans do the things that they do. And I think that that translates as an actor. I tend to play the creepy guy.
It's just because you've got those killer cheekbones.
Because I don't know what it's. There's many things, but I am really intrigued by why people do the things they do, especially when it's down that road of sociopathy or something. So yeah, I probably would have been trying to do that.
Great question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lou.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. My question is, what was the most difficult or just hard to film in general?
Mine was episode 20, where we had kidnapped the Sealy Queen and we were doing a trade. And the 2 days prior, I had dislocated my shoulder. So my shoulder was in the socket, but it was fractured, and the ligament that holds it in was ripped. So it kind of kept not coming out completely, but I could feel it detaching from my shoulder. And we had to shoot the scene outside, and we started shooting at 6 a.m. It was still dark, and it was so cold that every time I would shiver, my shoulder would slowly start coming out of my shoulder. And I didn't take pain meds because they make you I wouldn't have been able to remember my lines. And when I look back at that scene, I mean, you can see if you watch that episode again, the entire time doing this. No, it's actually now I've ruined that episode for you, because you'll just see me walking around, and I'm I also had to try and figure out how to use a sword in my left hand at the same time while trying that was one of the hardest days on set. And they wrapped us. I got back to my trailer. We were also for some reason I was soaked. I think my boots were soaked and whatever. And I got back to my trailer, and I was starting to take my costume off, and one of the assistant directors came up and knocked on my door, and she was like, "Hey," and I could just see by her face, and I was like, oh, "They need me again?" And she was like, "I'm so sorry. There's just one shot that they need you for." I was like, "No, it's okay. I can do it." And I was walking back down to shoot the shot, and then found out that it was a drone shot from way in the air, and I was like, "Do I need to be here for this?"
I think
that would have been a great time for a drum roll, by the way. But
Yeah.
whatever, it's fine.
I mean, for me, the quote-unquote hardest scene we shot is probably one of my favorite sequences we shot. And we talk about this all the time, but at the end of season 2 in episode 20, we did this whole sequence at Lake Lynn with Valentine where he gets killed, and then I kill Valentine, and I bring him back to life. And we spent a whole 2 days shooting this, and it was in the mud. It poured rain that day. I was crying for 10 hours. We were, all day, all night, everything. But that day when we left, I couldn't even stand up in the shower at 5 a.m. when I got home. But we were so satisfied with that, because we truly had given everything we could to that sequence that was so important, that we'd been building up 2 entire seasons to shoot. And I think it's maybe the sequence we're happiest with in the entire show.
I think so, yeah. It's funny, sometimes the parallels between the difficulty of achieving something and the satisfaction of achieving that thing align themselves almost entirely. Yeah. I think that's an interesting simile for life also. Whatever the hardest challenge is that you're going through at the time, to overcome that gives you the most satisfaction and the most pride to go over it. So that being said, my hardest scene are the ones that I'm not in, because I am livid that there was ever a scene that Jace wasn't in. No,
That tracks.
Yeah. Honestly, the real stuff that's difficult, the physical stuff is hard, but it's fun also, so your adrenaline's kind of kicking the whole way through. Obviously, injury notwithstanding, that doesn't count. I'm sure that was hell. the crying days are tough, are really tough. And there was a scene with all the dead ewes that we ended up,
Yeah, it was me and 11 body doubles for me, all dead. It was great.
All very odd.
It's his worst nightmare.
And I'm like crying the whole day, right? So it's like 8 hours of just doing the same scene over and over and over from different angles and just crying again and again. Like there's no progression into that. Like I start that scene crying. And I won't talk about it too much, but where Jace's mental headspace was very negative and very dark in that period as well. And you sort of the like emotion that it drains out of you is really quite difficult. And then an interesting thing happens with your body, which I didn't know. Is after a certain period of time, you stop being able to produce tears. You physically can't do it anymore. And I was like, I know I'm crying. I feel like I'm crying. Like I can feel it in my throat and my nose and whatever, but I also can feel that no tears are coming down my face. Because it's almost like you're too dehydrated to do it. You physically are unable to do it. And that was a tough day. And that was one of those days where I sort of just took myself off afterwards and went home and had a beer and cuddled my cat. And that was the fix for that.
But it was some gorgeous work. So it was worth it.
That's very sweet. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and I had a question if you guys have seen the Mortal Instruments movie and what you thought about it.
Loved it. Next question.
Great.
I'm kidding.
I really did think they did a great job with it. I think, it's so difficult to do in 2 hours what we did in 13 hours. There's so much lore and so much establishment of the world that they tried to fit in there. And I think, maybe that, it was a different medium. And I think, the medium that we had and the time that we had worked to kind of give a more all-encompassing perspective of the world and kind of bring people in at a slower pace and then have the story happen at the same time. But I think they're all fantastic actors, and I thought the film looked great, but ultimately I was very glad we got to do the series.
I got nothing to build on that. Yeah, I agree. I think that's smart. I'm also
I was obviously missing from it, so I didn't love it. But no, I'm kidding. I had watched it before when it came out, and I enjoyed it. So
thank you.
Thank you. Hey.
Hi, my name's Bailey. I'm from Conroe, Texas. What is each of y'all's most heartfelt film, like scene that y'all had to shoot in the show?
We had to shoot. Also, this is the first time I've been called y'all since I've been here, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
There you go. Welcome.
That's a nice Texas moment for me. I appreciate it. The most heartfelt moment in the show, and whoever was in my, I can't see anything. These lights are so bright, I can't see a thing. But whoever was in my meet and greet earlier, you'll already know this story. So you're hearing it again. You have no choice. The most heartfelt scene, I think, in the show, and it breaks my heart, and it always makes me cry. I'm not in it. None of us are in it. It's when Alberto Simon incantos his mother to say that Simon is dead. And I think it is the most beautifully performed and heartbreaking, heart-wrenching moment in the show from both of them, from both of the actors. Christina and Alberto. That for me is my most heart-wrenching moment that we ever did, because it wasn't about like violence or brutality or like it was just like loss. It was just raw and something like truly traumatic to witness or be a part of. So that for me that's my one.
Yeah, for me it was most of the last episode. My scene with you, my last scene with you tore my heart to pieces, and then the last scene at the wedding where, they wrote it so beautifully, where I say goodbye to Simon, but nobody knows I'm saying goodbye to them. I'm saying goodbye to Simon. I'm asking Maris if the angels are capable of forgiveness, and then the scene with you where we're dancing at the wedding, and it's the first time and the only time in the books or the show that Jace and Clary actually tell each other how they feel about each other. And those lines came straight from the books. It was the last scene we shot, and it was just so all-encompassing of not only the show and the characters, but also what you and I had been through for the last 4 years in making that show. And I still get emotional when I'm talking about it, because we were surrounded by all of the people, cast and crew, that we'd made the show with. And it was the perfect moment to kind of bookend it all for me. But I still can't hear that song without crying that Todd played on the day.
I think that my favorite or most touching was the flashback scenes with Lilith in Edom. It's one thing to like read someone's experience, but then you actually, like when I was shooting that, and Anna Hopkins, who plays Lilith, is one of the greatest actresses I've ever worked with, and she just brought it in such a powerful way that it really made me feel like I was that person in that time. And I felt really powerless and really helpless and really stuck. And I think that that's like one of the worst things anyone can feel. So I like definitely know that there was a lot of learning for my character in that moment as well. Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Megan. I'm gonna be in a movie next month. And
Hey!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that deserves a round of applause for sure. Yeah, well done. Good job, Megan.
And I was just curious if you guys had any advice for a first-time actor on set and stuff like that.
Plenty. Yeah. Watch some behind-the-scenes stuff of what I do. Don't do any of that. Scrap all of that away from the legs gone. No, you're gonna learn. Like, try and be as much of a sponge as possible. Like, listen to everything everyone's saying. Ask questions. Like, people are normally very happy to tell you about their position and you know what they do. And like, this is your opportunity to learn as much as you possibly can about how it works. And there's gonna be a bunch of terms that you don't know. And the same happened for all of us. That at some point they were like, "All right, back to wands," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" Someone point where I need to go. And you'll figure it out very quickly. But just listen and be very open to listening and learning. I think that's the most important thing that you can do your first time on set. And also, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're going to put a huge amount of pressure on yourself. Everyone does, and there's no real way around it. You're going to put a huge amount of pressure on yourself. Remember that you earned your position there, right? Like the people that the powers that be have decided that you were the right person to be in this position. So don't put too much pressure on yourself in fact, often, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I've seen actors who put so much pressure on themselves because they feel like they need to prove that they have earned their place. And the performance is worse because you can see them thinking about it. So just as much as you can, just try and listen and learn and relax into that and do what you can do because you already did enough to get there, if that makes sense.
Great advice.
That's great advice. And it is very true. You can learn so much on set just by listening to what's going on around you and what people are saying, the conversations they're having. But I think another thing to keep in mind is be prepared and know everything you need to know your character backwards and forwards, but leave a little bit open to be flexible because there's a certain kind of magic that happens on the day when everyone else's work all combines together, be it, set deck and wardrobe and the director and the other actors. There's this sort of alchemy that happens that can surprise you with what it brings up. And if you're open to that, it's magical and wonderful.
I would just say that everyone on set wants you to succeed. Just like if there is a wardrobe person and they are sewing the hem of your dress and they're nervous about it, you're not watching them thinking, God, I hope you fuck. Ooh, I shouldn't swear. God, I hope you mess up. But, it's like everyone... is it okay? Am I allowed?
Isn't this being live streamed?
Yeah, this is
it's
on
being
the
live streamed on the
internet
internet.
as
I can't do
well,
it.
yeah.
I think I dropped one already. So.
Okay. I hope someone's there with a beep. But
where you at now, drum guy with the beep? That's what we need is a beep.
It's coming. No, but everyone wants you to succeed. So remember that when you're acting.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Great question and good luck.
Break legs. Hi.
Hi. I actually have kind of a multiple-part question. So Luke, I actually
Smart,
know you
use your
really
platform.
well from Truth or Dare.
Oh.
And I was wondering if you kind of took your acting from a horror movie into Shadowhunters, and if you two could really tell his experience in like a horror type of acting.
It's interesting because Truth or Dare was one of the first films I did where I didn't play someone evil, even though it's kind of my fault that everyone died because I took them all to the house. But that's not evil. Like, it's like, it just happened, But
See, that's what it just happened.
it just happens sometimes, guys.
It's happened to be Shadowhunter.
But there is definitely a certain technical aspect to shooting a horror film and shooting something like Shadowhunters because when you're doing anything with VFX, it becomes a different beast. Like, I would say most of the time as an actor, the biggest part of your job is to portray a character with truth and like create like an honest moment. But doing a sci-fi show or doing a horror film, you have to create truth while also holding your head at a 45-degree angle so that it matches up with another take that they can do a VFX shot at. You know, like you're doing a scene and like, I remember on Shadowhunters, there's the scene where I come back and I'm angry that Clary's got away and I start like destroying the apartment. And it looks like I've just gone in and gone crazy. I have absolutely not. There are 3 things in that room I'm allowed to break. One is there, one is there, one is there. I have to make my way around. I also have to know where the camera is. And then on that specific shot, they were like, at the end of it, then you fall to your knees, you look up, there'll be a camera above you. We need you to turn your head to a 45-degree angle so you can catch the light and then start crying. And it's like, what? Like, what am I doing? But doing horror for a while, you get into a good pattern of doing that. And thank you for watching Truth or Dare. I appreciate it.
I will say, I mean, you and I almost did a movie together before Shadowhunters. And you want to drink your blood?
Isn't a joke. I actually do want this.
I'm sorry.
I get cast in horror all the time, and I don't know why.
I'm going to drink. Thank you. Yeah. Man, you're the MVP.
Yeah, but I am feeling
drink your
really
blood,
left
sweetie.
out.
Drink your blood, sweetie. No, I knew what a great actor Luke was, you know, because we had almost done this film together, and we actually met in the audition for that. I can't take you seriously when you're doing that. But I was actually really excited to work with Luke because, you know, that relationship between Jonathan and Clary is so close, and to have it be somebody that I knew, and again, somebody that I trusted, was the biggest gift, because, yeah. Well, oh, jeez. Wow, he's magic. He's magic. But because I'd gotten to work with Will Tudor, who's also one of my closest friends playing Sebastian, and then to have Luke come in and play the Jonathan half of it, I was a kid in a candy store because I got to just have both of these kind of on-screen relationships with people that I really was close with. Did you tell that he'd worked in a horror movie?
Oh, just let's move on. Oh, no.
He's found his tears again, guys. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, my life is complete. I really, really, genuinely, whoever did that, appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Can you the next question, please?
Okay, I got a question for the 3 of y'all, and I want your honest answer. If you knew you were gonna die tomorrow, what would your last meal be? One choice.
Holy shit.
I've been asked this question so many times, and I fail answering it every time because I like too many things.
Vodka. And tequila. And all the other spirits. I'm dying. I don't have a hangover the next day.
That's a good point. That's a good point. My mum makes some pretty amazing meals, so it would 100% be something my mum cooked. Yeah, is he making fun of me?
Oh my God,
I don't know what happened just then. Yeah, I'm still
just laughing at
about the
you.
earlier thing. That's fine. That's okay. That's what they paid for. It would be something my mum cooks for sure. Yeah, it would be a home cooked meal for my mum.
That's awesome.
That's really sweet.
That's really sweet, actually.
How out of character.
Yeah. If I had to pick Kansas City burn ends, some kind of, there's a kind of ice cream called Jenny's ice cream. They do gooey butter cake ice cream, and
cookies,
chips and salsa, probably.
Cookies?
I will bake you
Good
cookies
question.
for your
Solid
last
question.
meal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wait, Luke, you didn't answer. Oh, yeah, you did.
All
Hi.
of my friends, Jim, John.
So what props did you guys steal on set?
Nothing. We didn't steal anything.
I
We didn't steal a
stole
single
nothing.
thing. Put your hand down. We stole nothing. We stole nothing. This one's live, guys. This one's going straight
Yeah.
to the internet. Where's the camera? We stole nothing.
I stole nothing? No, I stole nothing. We were given things. But like I have a set of swords. I have some
Oh, we're telling the
holsters,
truth?
and-
I stole everything.
I stole nothing. But I stole nothing.
Everything
Mine
I
was
could get my
given
hands
to
on,
me.
but for a good cause, I have two more. I have two things left that I. One of them was a gift. The clapperboard was a gift.
Yes, yeah,
So
we
didn't
both have
steal
the
that.
clapperboards,
I
yeah.
did steal my falcon statue from
Which
my
is now
desk,
at
which
my
which is at your
house.
house, which I still have. But all of the other stuff I stole, almost all of it got donated to like an auction for a charity,
Yeah.
like different charities to help raise money for charities.
That's beautiful.
So all I have left is the falcon and the clapperboard. Ah, thanks. Yeah, cheer for
I think
theft.
they're playing
Well
us
done.
off.
Well done, you three.
Thanks,
It's like the
y'all.
Oscars where if we go over, you get paid off.
Yeah, we're gonna play you up, but it's gonna be so friendly and nice.
Oh, okay.
love
I
it.
appreciate it.
Dallas, make some noise. Luke Baines, Katherine, McNamara, Dominic, Sherwood. Yes.